Recently, I came across few instances where I saw some of the brilliant candidates got rejected. I tried to intervene and I just started doing some research and asking the questions what went wrong both from the candidate side as well as from the interviewer side. When I spoke to the candidates, they said that they had prepared very well. In fact, they were very confident when they were able to give up the answers, and they were knowing exactly what this organization is looking for when it comes to the values, when it comes to the culture, when it comes to the performance expectation, and how they are fitting into the role with respect to leadership skills, delegation, multitasking, decision making, and performance. And then they were clueless that why they got rejected. I turned towards the interviewer and I simply asked them, what happened during the interview that made you to reject that person? Now, something very astonishing started coming out. When I asked them this question, they said that, Arun, the people who came for the interview, they looked and appeared to be very confident. But when I asked certain questions, their answers were not matching with their personality. And I got confused and I said, what do you mean? The person on the other side said, Arun, I felt that they were giving fake answers as if they have mugged up the answers from the internet or the chat GPTs of the world, because it was not matching with their personality. In other words, they were not looking authentic to me. And I said, what do you mean by authenticity? And they said that authenticity means that they should be giving examples or relevance with respect to what actually they were doing. They were so ideal. Their answers were so perfect that was not matching with the background that I saw in their resume or the kind of achievements that they were narrating. And then I asked my last question to them. I said, then what exactly made you to think that they may not be the right fit? And one answer that came out was that when I look at people, when I select them, I look at it from few angles. One is communication. The second is, are they organizational fit? Whether they will fit into the entire scheme of the position that we have created. And third, which is the most important, is, are they culture fit? Do they share the values that we share? And I said, how do you judge that? And the answer came out very clearly that if their value system, if their culture of work in achieving certain objectives is not coming out clearly in terms of being authentic, it clearly comes out to me that these people are not fit for the role. Well, my dear friends, my name is Arun Thukral. I'm a life and a leadership coach, and in this episode that I'm going to talk to you today is going to highlight a very, very important aspect, that it's not just that you can mug up the answers, you can learn answers from the internet, chat GPTs or YouTube videos. It's your personality that counts. If your personality is not speaking the cultural values that you have built in over the years by achieving goals, by achieving your targets or by achieving your KRAs, you will not be able to make a dent in the interview, no matter what kind of questions that you prepare for. So what demands is that how your personality is evolving. And this is what I'm going to address in this video today, for that you can learn it's not the answers, it's your personality. And the personality comes from your behaviors. Behaviors come from your thinking, and your thinking starts to evolve when you experience certain things and then you take action. People who don't take action and they just take knowledge, they are fools. They cannot deliver anything. And that's precisely this video I'm making, because personally I was disturbed that why these people who were appearing to be so good and they were able to clear the first and the second level of interviews, they miserably got rejected in the final interview with the CEOs. So be there, and I would really love to see your comments when you find the content, whether it is relevant to you and did it really help you. And don't forget to like and subscribe this channel. Now let's talk about that why personality matters beyond your interview questions and answers that you give. Number one is, the company will look into it that whether you are culture fit. Now, what does it mean by culture? Culture is nothing but shared values. So when an organization is setting their vision, mission, goals, they set certain values that what kind of people that should come into the organization. So let's say the company's major mission and vision is that they want to be the first choice companies when it comes to whatever integrated solutions that you are bringing to the market. Now that's a vision that the company is looking at. Now what is the shared value? The shared value is that people should be quality driven, people should think about customer first. People should have lot of integrity, not lot, complete integrity. Now these are some of the values the organization sets in order to achieve their vision. Now let's say a gentleman who comes and walks in for the interview, and when this person is asked that how do you achieve your objectives, and the person starts to highlight about that in order to achieve objectives, he would definitely go into some cost cutting measures, he would get into some of the methods by which he or she can improve the efficiency, can impress upon that how this person in his respective department, if he is from finance, supply chain, or any relative department, maybe marketing, they are able to add value in terms of bringing the best product to the customer, innovative product to the customer at the minimum cost with high speed and efficacy so that the customer can be benefited. That's a perfect answer that you can think of, and it will match with the shared value because the organization wants to achieve that goal. But if the same person uses some shortcuts, uses certain methods that are going to impact the integrity of the organization by taking some short-term measures, by impressing upon customers, or by using or making some unwanted changes in the supply chain just only to achieve results in the short term, a person like this might be compromising on the values. That's why when somebody is hiring, they look for the culture fit, that what type of organizations you are coming from, what kind of education background that you have, and how you have been able to achieve the performance. And those ways and methods will talk about your integrity, will talk about that do you have customer in mind as first, or do you fit in the organization when you have 100 people who talk this language and this one person is not able to even understand the language, forget about practicing that work. So think about your personality fit to the organization. So it's important to read the value system. It's important to read what kind of achievements this organization has and how your value system has brought you up as a performer over the years and how you are able to achieve that. Hope this makes sense. Now let's take another part of personality, and I call it as first impressions. So like the first example that I shared, now this person, the CEO told me that when this person walks in for the interview, and while he greeted in the morning, good morning and all, and when he's seated on the opposite side, he was sitting like a slouch, something like this. You are leaning down while you started interacting. Sorry, I had to do this to give you a... No, a lot of people don't even realize. And the impression that was given to the other side, to the CEO, as if this gentleman is the CEO and the person sitting on the other side is giving the interview. A lot of people, out of their unknowing habits, they might not be able to create an impression, or they may be very smart in giving the first impression, but by virtue of their habits, they eventually get into certain unwanted habits that can disengage or that can distract the person on the other side who is taking your interview, and that impacts your personality, because they are not judging you what you are doing and speaking, but what you are not doing is what they are watching, or what you are not saying is what they are listening, and that is what creates a difference between a person who knows how to be attentive. So your personality, your first impression matters a lot, because in those 30 minutes or 45 minutes, they are going to listen and watch what you are not doing. And I'm telling you, this is why they are paid for, and that is why they are sitting at that top position, to know you. And for that matter, because of the so-called world of chat GPTs and the kind of generative AIs, a lot of companies are now emphasizing that at least the final or at least 2 level of interviews should be face to face and not digital. Because in digital you can behave in any form, but in a face-to-face interaction, a lot of things will start becoming clearer and open when a person is going, and that's where I said the first impression matters a lot. The next part I believe are of great importance in your interview is your soft skills. Now, as I said, there are soft skills. This is something that is not visible when you give your resume in front of the CEO or any other person on the board. Obviously, they can read what you have written, but it doesn't exhibit that do you actually attain and do you actually have those skills which are relevant to the job. So soft skills plays a very, very important role. So what are these soft skills? For any job success, there are certain skills that are anytime relevant, whether it was 50 years before or it is going to be 100 years ahead. They are not going to change. Now, you should know what are those skills. Number one, result orientation. Are you a result driven person or are you just a doer? A lot of difference can happen. So, for example, in your resume, you have written that you have achieved a very high performance background or you have been recognized, rated and awarded for certain things. That's great. But now I need to know in the interview, how did you achieve that? So that means, do you have that appetite of achieving high results? If yes, then you have to exhibit that in the form of an answer. Now, in order to do that, you need to have good communication skills. And as I repeatedly say, communication does not mean that how well you speak English, because that's just a language. It's about how you are able to explain, express and create your answer in a way that it can make sense that tomorrow if you are facing an internal or an external customer and you are in a complex situation, how you are going to behave, act and believe when you have a challenging situation in front of you. And that's precisely clearly articulates that do you have those so-called delegation skills, decision-making skills, problem-solving skills, performance management skills and multiple skills that are relevant to the role that you have already understood beyond technical skills. So let's say you are an IT expert. You might be great in Java or various programming languages. Fantastic. But if you have to go to the ladder up, it's not your functional skill. It's your behavioral skills, because these interviews are meant to know that how you are. If you are an arrogant person, if you are a person who is weak in decision making, if you are a person who is lazy, sorry, it won't help. Your personality is speaking that. And if your answers, as I said in the beginning, are faked, they are just mugged up answers just to match the ideal answers for the interview, it just bounces back because your speech and your body language and your resume, they are all mismatched. So think about the value of these soft skills in your personality, how it speaks. And one of the very important part that will reflect your personality, it is called in leadership authenticity. Authenticity is also a very, very abused word. But when it comes to authenticity, a lot of people take excuse in saying so. See, I'm not like that. I cannot pretend somebody like that I am not. And in order to stay away from being authentic, they say, I can express who I am. And there is nothing wrong in it. Now, what I'm going to tell you is very, very important and very, very, very deciding point that will make you or break you in the interview. And that is you being authentic. So, for example, you don't like to be very, set up yourself very professionally, groomed very well and all. You say that if my mind, my content is strong, people will still take me. I'm sorry, you're wrong. Yes, you're wrong. You really, really have to see that whom you are going for the interview, who is the person sitting on the other side, what kind of likings that person has, what kind of personality that person has, what kind of organizational culture has. You can read it from LinkedIn, you can see it on the social media, you can go to their websites, you can go to the personal profile of people and find out that what they are. And then prepare yourself to look something like that. Of course, you have to. You have to be a chameleon. You have to adapt. You have to go to that level. And if you keep telling, no, I'm not like this, I will be always like, then sorry, my dear friend, you might miss out. You might be a great achiever, you might be a great performer, but when you are not able to have that similarity and liking by that other person, no matter whatever you are able to you are able to generate diamonds out of your work, they will not hire you. And it has nothing to do with work, it's about liking. And I highlight this very often when I talk about in my selling classes, selling skills, that when you have to impress upon customer, all salespeople, they take two things with pride and practice, and that is why they are highly successful. One, they are finding ways that how they are like as same as their customers, and they try to figure out similarities because it's a human nature. So for example, let's say you go to a foreign country, and in that foreign country you accidentally see somebody Indian. What will happen? You will get attracted to that community. You would love to go and say, hey, I'm from Delhi, I'm from India, and then you become friends. So you figure out similarities. Or there can be many more methods. Let's say I and you studied in the same college. The first thing when you will pick up the call and say, hey Arun, do you know that I studied from Dehradun? Oh, I also studied from Dehradun. I really felt, which year was that? And you immediately break the barrier because now I have a different kind of liking towards you. Figure that out. Everything is available today for you at your fingertips on your phone. Go to LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, or the company website, or different industry forums and see what these people are doing. If you're really serious about your job, I'll make your life easy by doing this. But people complicate. They are overconfident. They say that, ho jayega, let me go and do, it will happen. It won't. That's why my first two examples are like that. It won't. No matter how hard you try. So think before you think about authenticity. Is it an excuse, or is it a point that you really need to build new skills, new attitudes, new behaviors to develop your leadership journey? Hope this would have added some value. I was becoming a little passionate, so I just started speaking everything that came to my mind. Hope you will think and think deeper about it. So in the end, I would simply say that the old saying is, it's not just your interview skills, but it's your personality that counts. I think that is true 100%, because any person who will come for an interview, he or she has an aspiration to go for a desired role and a job that they want to achieve. And in order to do that, you really need to work hard to see that what personality, what values, what culture that you have ingrained over the years, and you would be more than happy to get gelled with that level of organization and people who work there. And if you are not, and if you don't want to even bring that change and your thinking, then I'm sorry, all your mugged up answers will go waste. You might be able to impress some people here and there, but these days there are a lot of psychometric assessments that also run, and these days there are multiple level of interviews. These days it is not just the online interviews that work. The days are gone. People know that the chat GPTs of the world, generative AIs of the world exist, and they would definitely call you back face to face, and it is called doodh ka doodh, pani ka pani. So water and milk will separate in very simple words. So think about it, that whether you are really serious, then you have to really prepare well. Think about your personality, not just questions and answers. This is just one part of it. The second part of it, those questions and answers should match your personality. If it doesn't work. Hope you like this content. Hope this will help you to sharpen your personality. Feel free to write me on my email, arun.thukral@hcnconnect.in. I'll be more than happy to respond to you, and looking forward to see your feedback, comments for my encouragement. Thanks a lot. Thanks for watching me.